Season 14, RD2L interviews. Really happy to be here. Really happy to be doing this again. I'm starting this one off strong with a pretty strong captain and carry. Melliflox, how are you doing today?
Doing just fine. What about yourself?
I am doing fantastic. The weather is beautiful. The sun's out. It always perkins my mood.
Say that, but I had a bike to work in the rain this morning, so I'm not sure I agree. But probably don't live in the same place anyways.
Hasn't rained for a couple of weeks, actually, so we've been quite lucky with that. We're going to go through a couple of questions today, mostly just jumping through each of your draft picks and kind of touching on each of the picks. Then we'll do Dota Buff quiz at the very end. I hope you've prepared for that. If not, then prepare to fail, I guess.
Isn't the point that you shouldn't prepare?
Yes.
I feel like all the guests previously just sort of cheat and study beforehand, and there's no fun in it. But
I honestly don't think anyone has studied, so you're good.
Okay, we're Gucci then. I know there's gonna be Shadow Demon. That's about it.
Pretty much, yeah. That is actually one of the answers, but there's also a number with it. All right, let's jump into your first pick of the season, first pick of the draft, which is Longoria. Sorry. It's his first season of RD2L, and he's playing mid for you. He also plays a lot of carry, boasting a 74% win rate through 50 games on Jug. Is there any chance you and Longoria conditionally switch roles?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. We're definitely setting up with him in mid. The problem between him and I is just that really he's way better at mid than I am. So right now we're keeping things with me in the safe lane just because I'm not learning mid quick enough to warrant the switch. But once in a while, yeah, you could definitely see a Pocket Shadow Demon pick pull out or a couple other heroes that I can play well. We like to keep our enemies on their toes.
So that would be Shadow Demon mid every single time then?
Well, not every single time. I'll keep it a surprise.
Alright, good to know if I'm playing against you and we see that Shadow Demon pick coming out. So, question number 2, you got Philza round 2, picking an offlaner round 2. Is he something that you want him on more initiating heroes, or space-making offlaners? I think there's 2 types of offlaners like that.
Well, Philza definitely specializes in a very specific type of offlane. Most of his games throughout his career, which is pretty much almost entirely offlane, from what I can tell, is the solo lane, right? Suicide lane situation where he's playing basically a space maker, and he's gotten very, very good at pulling a really decent lane out of a lane that he should have gotten bum smacked in. A lot of times I'll look across the map suddenly to see the enemy Phantom Lancer running away at a quarter health while he's last hitting happily on his own with the enemy supports bewildered as to what to do. So he thrives in that sort of lane, but we're not going to limit him to that. The key to my team is we practice. We practice often, we practice thoroughly, and we are preparing for multiple different situations. So while our default sort of states with the pubs at the beginning of the season has been him on a, I guess, heroes like the Brewmaster, which you pointed out, where he can take over the lane and also play an initiating role. Despite that being his bread and butter, we're probably going to be moving into all sorts of other different types of offlaners. It'll take some work on his part, but he's definitely putting forward the effort. So we'll see all sorts of variety. I don't want to put him in a box.
Awesome. And I believe he's Ancient 3, Ancient 4 right now, something like that?
Something like that. Doesn't really matter.
I mean,
sorry, go ahead.
It's a pretty solid rank. I think once you're that high, you can really be pretty versatile in any offlane hero.
Well, I'm of the firm belief that all the players I picked are playing far above their middles on their preferred roles. And even Longoria mid, I think he's better on mid than he realizes. His win rate on his top mid heroes is, I think, for 3 different heroes, Zeus, OD, I don't remember the other one. They're like 67%, all of them, which is insane for somebody who doesn't identify as a mid player. And Philza in the offlane is just a terror. He's better than most offlaners I've seen in RD2L, including some of the ones like Redondo or Auto Attacks, who are supposedly really, really good. I'm biased, admittedly, but
supposedly shots fired.
Supposedly, I mean, it's hard to judge players in Dota, right? You know, there are people who think I'm dog shit because they've seen me in bad games. And according to what they've seen, yeah, I am dog shit. There are people who have good games with bad games. There are some people who just play sort of the same every game. everyone's different. There's no easy way to generalize a single Dota player. And there's so many variables that really, when it comes to rank, to badge, you can make educated guesses, you can make claims, but ultimately none of them are going to be true. So when I say, supposedly better than Redondo or Autotex or whatever, that's no discredit to them. They're fantastic players. I just also believe simultaneously in Philza.
Okay. I would definitely agree with your statement earlier. Sneezy being a support I played with a couple times, and he's definitely way higher than his badge says.
Mm-hmm. Now, speaking of Sneezy, I actually didn't really plan on picking him at first in the draft phase, because I know you might have had some questions about that. It turned out to be the best panic pick of my life, for the very reasons everyone has pointed out, which is he's helped with the captaining. And he's just as serious about Dota and tryhard as I am. And it's a lovely fit, to be honest. He did play with Nutter last season, I believe. And Nutter himself and Philza have almost 1,300 games together. They have over 1,000 games together. So together, those three picks are like peas in a pod. They fit together very nicely. And Sneezy, even though I drafted him for the 4 role, which was due to a communication on the RD2L website. Actually, his worst role, despite him identifying it as his top role, he's got the mindset to the point where that hasn't mattered. He's actually put so much effort in learning the role that he feels rather comfortable in it now. So it's been a pretty quick turnaround on that. People will be surprised and come to fear the Sneezy 4 by the end of the season.
Do you think it helps having your support duo already played together in a previous season?
Yeah, definitely. Even I guess anytime you have players who are used to each other, even if they're on roles that don't really touch all that much, except in the mid to late game, 5-man rotations. For example, Philza in the offlane and Nutter as my 5 position. They've played 1,000 games, but offlane and 5 position don't touch all that much in the laning phase. But it doesn't matter, because the synergy comes through the environment as a team, right? Like these guys, they're comfortable talking, they're copacetic, they can, offer each other advice and have fun casually chatting during a game without ruining the mood. And that's been the downfall of my past teams, is not having that. Is where I've tried too hard and not had that camaraderie to the point where things become a chore instead of Dota. And that's the real strength of people who play together, is you can put them through the ringer and improving without ruining the mood.
Okay. And I guess just one quick question about communication, too. Is there one person that's kind of calling the shots when it comes to in-game?
The plan originally was to have one of the 4 position players, whoever it may be, or Nutter, making the calls during the laning phase, and then transitioning to my own shot calling in the mid to late game once I have a certain set of core items. Of course, Dota's never really that neat, hasn't worked out like that, and I found things just sort of naturally happen on the team. So I definitely the primary shot caller when it comes to where we go as a team as the game goes on later and later, but everybody else sort of covers their bases up until that point. We're a team that's all willing to communicate, but not eager to say things unless they need to be said, which is the ideal in my opinion. So our laning phase is actually relatively quiet. I think we could do with a little more communication from perhaps Sneezy or our non-existent 5th round pick, who we still need a free agent for, Smack. But I'm pretty pleased with where we're at.
All right. We're going to move on to the last question now. I've already stated you captain in Season 12. How is the transition back to captaining going, and do you think your experience as a player, being captained by other people, helps you be a better captain?
Absolutely. In the same way you need to learn every single role in Dota to get good at the role you want to get good at, you got to be a player before you could be a captain. You have to be a follower before you could be a leader. I have a problem with my ego. I'm sure people pick up on that. And when I first came in RD2L, I was like, I'm going to come in. I'm going to spend, one season as a player, sort of get the swing of things and come in as a captain and kick ass and take names. And of course, it doesn't ever work like that. So first season, I think I had, Vinyl. I was on Vinyl's team. It was the Action Rune. And that's when I started to learn my super big weaknesses as a carry and as an influence on the team, right? When I started to see how overbearing I could be and how really I was awful at self-preservation and at some of the shot calling I was making. So that first season, I was when I was introduced to how bad I actually was. When I tried to captain, it went all right. I don't think I prepared for the draft the right way. I didn't prioritize getting a group of players that I knew would be able to practice, which I think is the key to Dota, or rather specifically to RD2L, to winning RD2L. Having people who will play. Because you can get lucky and draft a team of people who are just sort of good and you can, not practice at all. Sort of like my SEAL team. I think it was during RD2L season 13, I did SEAL instead. That just sort of worked out. And we made it to playoffs, did pretty well, but we didn't practice. But that's only getting lucky. If you have people who can play often and who will work with you and who have the camaraderie I talked about earlier to be able to improve without getting downtrodden, then you're golden because you can adjust to any meta, any situation with other teams, any opponents. That's the way to go. So that's sort of the lesson I've slowly learned, and I think I've improved my communication and teaching style as well. I know when to shut it off. I know how to give people, the opportunity to set their own limits, to make sure that they know when to tell me if they're getting burnt out, if I'm doing things wrong, and also how to deal with people who have interpersonal issues, which happens a lot in Reddit and Dota and really everywhere.
Of course.
So, sorry, I know it's a long-winded answer.
No, you're good. And I noticed, too, you guys have already played 14 matches, or at least 14 pubs together on Dota Buff, which is insane. 18 now, okay.
Yep, 18.
Which I feel like is insane, but maybe that should be the number my team should aim for, so.
We practice 8 o'clock every night, and we don't just pub. I mean, we watch replays, we drill lanes. I've even put Sneezy through some coaching sessions with a 4-position named Tact. It's a Dota coach. So you practice a lot, but you don't turn it into a pub grind because that's not how you ever get better at Dota, right? Mm-hmm. You don't get better at pubs if you just grind pubs. Nobody who's ever actually gained a lot of MMR has done it just by not thinking about it, putting their face to the wheel. You have to plan when you queue. You have to plan what you learn, what you improve on every game, set goals, watch replays. That's how you do it.
Okay. Sounds a bit like the process. There's how to improve from Melliflox. We're going to jump right into the Dota Buff quiz now. So be prepared or not. It's honestly better if you're not prepared. First question. What is the highest win rate hero? What is your highest win rate hero in pro games? So that would be like RD2L and Face It, according to Dota Buff.
That one is Shadow Demon.
Yes. What is the percentage?
I believe 86%.
We'll just give you that one because it's 85.71. So.
Rides up, bitch.
All right, 1 for 1 so far. What is your longest match, and what hero did you play? Did you win or lose?
Oh, it's about 2 hours and 10 minutes. It was Timbersaw, I think. That's what I guess. Mm-hmm. And I believe we won because we had the Mega Creeps and they had some bullshit obnoxious Deuce team and it just kept defending and our team was dog shit and we couldn't end. So eventually we just sort of stumbled into victory when somebody fell asleep at their keyboard. I think that's it. Am I wrong? Is it
no, that's totally correct. Sounds like a classic Dota game.
Oh yeah, was it actually 2 hours 10 minutes? Because that was a guess.
Yeah, I think it was like actually 2 hours 6, but honestly, again, for that long of a game, it's close.
Yeah, that game. I think I like got a book out or something. Literally, I was trying to set a record for cutting all the trees on the map. Like so, I was just playing games with Timbersaw, seeing how many I could cut down at once. It's obnoxious. Good times.
So, third question, what is your current average for last hits at 10 minutes?
Is that an all-time average or like a recent average?
It would be all-time, so it includes your support games too, which might bring it down.
Last hits at 10 minutes.
It's an even number, I'll give you that.
54.
It is 40 straight up.
Fuck. All right, guess I need to work on that.
I mean, that's not bad for, especially you played a decent amount of support games too. So.
Well, and I tend to go full retard on my shit out mini games, so I've got about 431s where I just stop caring about last hits at like 7 minutes and start trying to murder everyone suicidally.
It's usually how it goes.
Yeah, it's a good time. That's why I love the hero.
Fun question here. I think you should be able to get this one. Can you name your 5 most common items on any mage? Because the 6th one is TP scroll, and that's just like on every hero.
Okay. Well, I hope it's not Ethereal Blade.
It's not.
Yeah, I know. I've tried the Ethereal Blade Radiance on Razor. Why not try it on Anti-Mage? I guess it'll be in the new meta. But no, it's going to be Treads, Battle Fury. That one I know for sure. Abyssal Blade.
Got it.
Butterfly and Manta, right?
Manta, but not Butterfly.
Okay, so possibly either Daedalus or Scotty. I'm going to guess Scotty.
It is Vlad's.
The fuck?
So basically a non-existent item anymore.
Okay, can we not? I mean, that item literally doesn't exist. So that must. How many anti-mage games did I play back in the day? Holy cow!
I've noticed it's one of your higher heroes, but you've only played like 2 games within the last couple games. So
the problem is the hero is awful to win with. I always pick it and try and have fun with it, but it's like something about the hero just turns every game, no matter who I'm with, into a 1v9, and that's no fun. Except my current team because they're baller. They're fine with it. But no, I played a shit ton of anti-mage. I think that's how I climbed from 4 to 5k, actually, if I remember.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they always become farm fest, I feel like.
Yeah. That hero's really good when you could build stats instead of talents or whatever, because he just benefited so much from a smart choice in stats. It's hard to describe. I could always find farm, because even if the lane was a total clusterfuck, I could work on a Vlad's, work on the components to it, and just go into the small camp and farm that up. And back then, that was enough to get your Battle Fury on time. Now it's not.
Yeah. So last question, kind of a fun one. How many rapiers have you purchased in total?
In total? Okay, so I have how many games in total? Let's see, like 12?
I think it's like 8,000 or something like that.
I think it's closer to 9,000. I'm going to guess about 48.
45. I'll give you that one. Honestly, like out of 8,000 games, it's a pretty hard guess.
That was total guess too. I guess I'm just that good.
So we'll give you a solid 3 out of 5 there.
3 out of 5.
Well, you missed number. Well, depending on how you want to count.
I see how it is. No, I see how it is. It's fine. It's fine.
I think that's better than what most people do, because I'm kind of mean on a lot of these questions. So.
Killerkarate and Dota Buff Slayer. Okay. I'll take it.
So thanks for coming on today. Do you have any words for your next opponent? Any shout-outs you want to make?
No, I'll look forward to the matchup. You're going to have a hard game on your hands, so you better be ready.
All right. Good to hear. I always love competition. Thanks so much for coming on, Melliflox.
My pleasure. Thanks for the interview. Take care.